Perfect.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dope as Usual podcast. I am Thomas. Dope as Yola. This is my co-host,
Started
Marty
before I
O'D.
could put my glass down. Now I'm just hovering here waiting.
No, you're good, dude. Slam it.
That was heavy.
It's all good. Are you ready?
All right, go. Keep
no,
going.
We're in this.
Now you already
We're
did
in
it.
this.
I f***ed it up.
This is Marty O'Neill. This is Dope as Usual podcast.
What's up, guys? I'm blowing people's eardrums as well.
It's okay. They can just
let me
go like
finish
this.
my intro. You know the guy. He's funny, and he's here right now.
He's here right now, guys.
Judge for yourself.
Here we go. This is the episode. This is
America
DANE COOK.
doesn't care what you did yesterday. America doesn't want to click on yesterday. America's clicking on what we're doing today, and it's good to be with you here today.
Thanks
See how
for
I did
being
that?
here.
I kind of brought it right back in.
It's like you've been on camera before or something. Or
it's really good to
have
see you,
stage
man.
presence. So thank you for being here. First
I
off,
feel like I'm sinking. Am I getting lower in the
no,
chair?
it's just the confidence just
What
leaves
is
the
going
room.
on? Hold on, I got to make sure that I'm... All right, there we go.
Okay,
All right.
so I do this.
Yeah.
I gained 3
We
inches of
built
height.
this set for Dane, so we're still working it out.
Specifically.
They built a new set just for me. That is not the truth. Guys, maybe a little more chatter while we're talking. You two photogs, maybe you can go off and meet at Sammy's camera next time you guys want to yap
They would
about.
love that.
I'm not even mad at that either.
I threw a local reference in there just
like
to keep it
Sammy's,
regional, but
the
still
top
maybe,
floor is where the
we're gonna
molest happens because
throw in a little bit of East Coast love in a little bit.
scary up
Nothing
there.
but love for you guys, but just keep it down. Way the fuck down.
All right, let's get started. You have your brand new tour, fresh new flavor. Let's go. And the next time this drops, you'll be in Ohio, the 24th.
Oh, yes. No,
24.
we're back. Yeah, I don't know what round it is, man. It's like, I'm in a run and gun moment. It's been...
How long has it been on this one?
Well, this year's tour has already been a month, but coming off like 2 years back to back, it's almost like I went from perfectly shattered tour, then I took a little bit of a break to film something, then I went straight documentary for 2 years. I've been producing and putting together this wild story of something that happened in my life. Then we dovetail right into the perfectly shattered tour. Then I get married, and then I've been on like a year-long boom, just enjoying it.
When'd you get married?
Also, a year ago last week.
Oh, congratulations,
And
man.
now
Nice.
we go right into fresh new flavor. So I haven't had an official even my honeymoon was like, I was like, honey, listen, we're having a great night. Can I just promote these tour dates for about 15 to 20 minutes every 15 to 20 minutes? So it's been a lot of work, but this is what I love. This is honestly
amazing.
Like
The energy is great.
Getting into the into the nitty gritty and having fun and figuring out how to entertain people in a new way with new people is my jam. So it's good to be here, and I got to go. So thank you guys so much. How do I get out of this coffin
Just
of
slide.
a chair that you put me in?
All right. Okay, so you got married less than a year ago.
I did.
Okay, so
Yeah,
congratulations
it's none
on
of
that.
your business,
Hey.
by the way. We don't talk about my personal life. If I bring it up, we talk. Okay?
What time do you go to sleep?
No, I love it. Time to go to sleep.
Time to go to bed.
It's the best, man. Yeah, a year married, never been married, and so it's been. People in the comedy game will say it brings you 15 new minutes of material.
Oh.
But I find that it's bringing even more because it's opened up my world, my thinking. It kind of rocked me in the best possible way. I always knew I wanted to be married, and then I get married, and suddenly it's like nitro. My life, everything is just
Hyperactive?
elevated, hyperactive, better. And so that's all kind of like finding itself in the new show, the Fresh New Flavor Tour, which is tickets are available now
At Ticketmaster.com.
.com.
There we go.
Live Nation.
You always have to say .com in a cool way. Anybody who just says .com, they're a moron. You got to hit
say like a
.com
monster
with
truck guy.
.com.
Something. Or like the old eBay commercials. Remember
Right.
those? That was right. Okay, so you have the new flavor. I'm asking. I just got married
Yeah.
too a couple months ago, and
Congratulations.
you are. I didn't take a honeymoon either, so I was like, hey, do I feel like an asshole?
We did, but it was still just.
I was
kinda
working the
like,
whole time.
My wife knows that I love. I love work. I love it. Not in a way of like I'm like lost in it. I just when you get it's an embarrassment of riches to do anything in the arts, anything in the entertainment industry. It's so fickle. It's such a fucking zeitgeisty little. that sometimes like when you get to actually get the throttle and you're, and you're making the rules for a little bit, because things come in vogue, out of vogue, in season, out of season. You take a break, you grow up, you fucking shave your beard off. People go, "Ooh, grow the beard back. What the fuck happened to you?" So there's so many different elements. And when you get on a heater, like I've been on the last couple of years, you just want to enjoy it full tilt.
Keep it going.
That's it. We're going.
And you never know, like, what if there's a year like, damn, I'm kind of bored. I wish I would have got up for those 6
it's called
months.
2011.
Oh, okay.
No, I've had, listen, bored, but then if I were to go back, and I won't like bore you with like the out of the weeds, initial, touring life details, but I started Boston 1990, and those first 8 years, like, they blew. It was tough.
Not fun.
It's lonely. It's nobody. The way I describe it, even in my act now, is I go, imagine you start off a job that for the first many, many years, every time you get into a vehicle to go to that job, wherever you're going, they don't give a fuck that you're coming there, and they don't give a shit when you leave. And that's comedy for a very, very, very long time. So I'll take a bored year or an off year or a year where it just you didn't hit the mark, recalibrate, but I never want to do the 90s ever again.
Oh man, that is not what I expected. I thought it was like, it was the shit.
No.
I was 21.
It was a little fun. Yeah. There were some fun gigs, and the girls in colleges. But realistically, after like the
Success
party's over,
is more fun.
I've always been more like wired to go like, I want to be entrepreneurial. I want to build a brand and a business, and like, so a little bit of fun was great, but I really was spending 23 hours of the day going, how do I win? How do I win this thing? And then how do I win and share that data with my friends on the come up? So they can win, and then how do I maybe leave something in conversations like this where
it might help
person out there is going, I'm struggling, I fucking feel like I'm never gonna win. I know, me too. I felt like okay, I'm never gonna turn the corner, but you will, you can, and if there's any antidotes here, maybe we'll spill them on the fucking table and figure it out.
That's what
Thank
the
you
show's
for that's
all
what
about.
the show's
Be
about,
the next
man.
episode because I gotta go.
Gotta go.
Get me out of this coffin of a fucking chair.
Damn, dude. I this chair. Damn it! I just changed them.
It's the weirdest.
I just changed them too.
It's no, it's okay. There's a little bit.
It does
of
feel like
feng shui.
that commercial with the fan in front of the guy and he's blowing back. That's how I feel.
What was that?
I can't. But that's what it's like.
Let's
that's
date
how I
ourselves.
feel.
It was like a Magnavox.
I don't remember. I just remember he's like that with his tie.
Megalox, right? And the wind is blowing.
That's
them.
how I feel in these shit.
Can somebody look that up? Somebody in here must have a computer. Yeah,
In their pocket.
After you take 1,000 more photos, maybe take a little break and fucking Google this and help us out over here, guys. All right?
Yeah, we got one white man over here running the whole show. Come on. Okay, so you're on tour. How many dates do you have? Like, just the life of a comedian.
This one, the rest of the year will be about 30 dates. What is it?
Max L. MAXELL.
The tapes?
Blown away guy.
Max L. Oh, that's it. The blown away guy. That's it. That's what I feel like sort of in this chair. But instead of a chair, it's a coffin that somehow you cut in half and just turned into a chair.
It's so crazy.
Trent did it, yeah.
much too.
Yeah. Well, I think that there's some cassettes hidden right at the base of my spine that are actually fucking sticking right into it.
It's
Maybe
heavyweights.
invest a little cushion next
heavyweight.
time for your guests.
That's crazy.
30 dates for the rest of this tour. I just booked a movie, so I got to go now.
Yeah,
into
awesome.
the movie, from the movie set, and then I'll be going for my Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sunday. I'll be going set, flying, doing dates, back to set, flying dates. So November is going to be pretty chaotic.
You are a workhorse.
I love it.
That's all I heard right now. That's awesome.
Do you love doing movies as much as stand-up?
He talks. Is he supposed to talk? Can we cut that? Let's just cut it. And also, he kind of hit it at such a.
That's my radio voice. I only bust that
Yeah,
off for
dude.
special
All right, I
guests.
didn't know you were coming
Yeah,
in
yeah.
hot like that, man.
No,
Okay,
no.
what was the question?
Do you love doing movies as much as stand-up?
I do, but it is a different. Stand up is a solo mission. You're the producer. You're the performer, writer, sometimes bouncer. It's sort of a lone gunman type of job, and then you get to go to a set where you're just a piece of a puzzle, not about you. Literally not about you. You're not you.
Yeah.
You're a director's vision, and you think of it like, oh, he wants to make his story come to life. Now I have to be of service to him in a story, and I like that because it takes my ego and all the things that go around like me, and stand up, and it turns it into like, how do I get a scene accomplished with you and you? We might not know each other before we get there, so now like you're trying to figure out a puzzle.
Yeah.
With a great director. So we found a great director. This is a great script. It's kind of a Pulp Fiction-y Res Dogs. I'm a bad dude. I get to be funny on the weekends and then go be covered in blood for the weekdays. So I really do love it. Don't make me pick. I would not want to pick. It's like they definitely work different sides of my creativity. But it is when you get a good one and you get to do a great film or TV show, there's nothing like it, because you really do go, I don't know if this is going to work. We won't know for a year till it's edited and music's in and colorization. And it's so different from the visceral instant of stand-up where it either works or it doesn't.
Instant gratification.
That's it. So two totally different, sides of that spectrum. And you're done asking questions at this point, I'm assuming?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Maybe next time just like wave a little flag over there so I know that fucking voice is going to haunt my ear.
All right. So I have a question. From all the comedies, and then you switch up to the ending scene of Mr. Brooks. I watched the movie when I was a kid. I died
Mr. Brooks.
severely.
Yeah.
So when I was watching that, I'm sitting here with my Uncle John watching Vicious Circle. We're all laughing, and then I'm like, he's dying. He's slowly dying. So what is that?
Spoilers.
It's been a minute. That movie's been out for quite a while. But for real, what is the switch up? Because I know you're acting. We get that. But as a kid, when you're like, oh, I got shot. Ugh.
Yeah.
How do you go from, oh, my neck is exploding and gushing?
Right. Well,
it's such a different, approach for you. Obviously, you like movies, you like comedy. It's nothing to do with comedy.
You don't get your neck, blown open every day, and then you have to
pretend to die
in a way that's, very real. Opposite one of the greatest actors that I also not only grew up appreciating his performance. I just loved him. I grew up watching like Field of Dreams and Tin Cup. He could do comedy. He could do Dances with Wolves. He could direct. Like, this is sort of like a person that I want as a mentor and not just as a co-star. So imagine the day I get there. I know the scene's coming. We're filming in Shreveport in the middle of the night, in an actual cemetery. Oh. The take before I had to do the throat scene, I had to just fall into the leaves near graves, right? And so we just do a scene where I fall into the leaves, and some guy comes over and very quickly reaches out his hand like, come on, get up. And I'm sort of like lollygagging, like, how did that look? And then I realized there's tarantulas.
Oh, hell no.
Full on giant that come out in the middle of the night. And so he was getting me up off the ground because they were all over the cemetery.
Spot. Hey, this cemetery has spiders.
Yeah. I'm not that diva enough to be like, guys, this cemetery is
too many spiders.
Not Dane Cook.
Honestly, I would have pulled that car. I'm like, bro, I could just eat.
I get all bougie in a cemetery 2 a.m. Hey, Kevin C, can we? So imagine then they rig me up, and then Kevin comes over to me. And I think at that point I was comfortable enough to call him Cost. That was like my little nickname for him. I got there. I was like, Cost.
The first time, it worked.
No, at first it was Mr. Costner, and then he was like, Kevin. I earned my stripes with him, but he finally says, he comes over and he goes, he's pretty dead serious. He's a very straightforward guy. I love that about him. He's like, we have one take to do this. One rig with the blood. We're here. It's 2 a.m. It's been a long day for everybody. So it's like, die right in one take and die suffering. And I'm going to be across from
judging you.
And I'm going to be, I apologize.
No,
sorry.
you're good.
Sorry, guys.
Die right.
Hold on.
Kevin Costner.
Richard, I'm in the middle of a podcast.
You're good.
Just called me. So say hello to everybody. And then I'm going to call you back. Bye, brother. Airplane mode. So
he tells you, die right.
Kevin's like,
I'm an actor.
You got to die right.
One shot.
You got one take.
And I'm tired.
How you feeling? Are you good? Everybody's tired. It's a long day. And what happens is, like, of course, when you're like playing pretending you're a kid, you're just doing just that. You're just going like, okay, from what I've seen other people do, versus like, how would this character that I've lived in the body of now and tried to like figure out how to elevate certain nuances and the minutia, of his performance, of his life, things that you guys wouldn't care about or know about, or things that I did with my hands, or like the way I would react, or the way that like I would add sweat, or things that I would do to make sure that you felt it was not me, an element of something else. And so I really was like, okay, I feel like I need to find another gear here, and I have a few minutes to do it, and I could either just do a death scene, or this character could die if I do it the right way. And so I finally found, and with Kevin's help and everybody on that set, I finally realized, there was really going to be like a moment where it would be like an exorcism, and he could kind of exorcise who he truly was, which was not a badass guy who wanted to be a serial killer, but a scared child. And he would scream probably like a child. I kind of get goosebumps thinking of it, because when I discovered it, the origin in my mind of who this character was, Mr. Smith, I was really like, oh, he wouldn't call out and test test, what is that word, like against you. He wouldn't scream out like revenge or yeah. He wouldn't cry out like that. He would cry out as somebody who he's from the beginning been trying to circumvent, which is a person who feels insignificant and lesser and probably abandoned and very childlike. So that scream that you hear in that moment, imagine I'm screaming like that in downtown Shreveport in a cemetery. I'd never heard that sound come out of my body. I wish we could play it right now, because when I hear it back or when that clip plays,
creeps you out a little bit.
I'm literally like, wow, I'm proud of it, because I found a moment where I was like, if you told me to do that just now, I wouldn't do that. Mm-hmm. But in that character, in that moment with Kevin looking at me holding that shovel, I found this piece of performance that might be the best thing I've ever done on film.
Oh, what a great explanation, man. Truly.
Are we going to grade my explanations at this point?
That was
now?
Awesome. Yes,
because
B.
I'd like to a B. You fuck you.
No, it was great.
I never really get more table in between us. Can we maybe add like 4 or 5 panels of fucking blue black wood in here?
We just made it smaller.
This guy's every single camera in the fucking shop he's pulling out of his little fanny pack.
I know he is. All right, so opposite vibe. How many times in public has anybody yelled, "Check out the Batwing"? Bitch?
Get that a lot.
Has anybody ever done it?
No.
I'm shocked.
That's a lot of online.
Oh, but like
a lot
I'm
of people
shocked.
say, "Can I come to the meet and greet in Batwing? Can I come to the meet and greet in like?" But never, thankfully, has anybody in person ever come up and said,
"I'm shocked."
Yeah, by the way, not a good idea. Please
don't do it.
We got the scream right here.
Yeah, and then forget about the scream. I go from the scream
to the
into what that felt like, and I never tested it.
It was a really horrific ass scene.
I never tested it, so I didn't know what it was even going to feel like. And when that exploded, my whole neck I thought was going to concave, because it was powerful, man. That split, that blows up, and then the scream took probably all the blood out of my head. Mm-hmm. So when I landed that time, forget about tarantulas. I was just like laying there like, am I going to faint? Oh, I'm in this guy. I'm in this, character. I'm in this guy. It's the worst, probably.
I'm inside this guy 2 a.m. at night.
I'm inside this guy.
Bunch of cameras.
And I am deep.
And I'm screaming.
This guy. Okay. I am in the slit of a neck. Deep. No, it was, and then Kevin came over, and when he, brought me up and threw that, half hug.
Good job.
Talk about like just, if somebody revoked my entertainer's license the next day, it would have been like, okay, I've done something that I feel like is very, very cool. Yeah. Awesome. Why don't you play it 9 more times for us, and then we can.
I will. I'll
pull the balls out.
Pull
the bat. He's on an iPhone 11. That was the worst speaker system.
We have such a nice.
I know. We're still working it out.
We just got it. Okay, so no Batwing. Incredible.
No Batwing.
Incredible. Yep. Can I get your opinion on Waiting 2?
Waiting 2, I never saw.
You never watched it? Oh.
They offered it to me, and permission to speak freely?
Please.
Okay.
Because I'm a fan of both, so I want to know.
I hated the script of 2. I loved. Could we make a little bit more noise with bottles? Maybe he's going down to the recycle fucking plant after this, and I mean, all I'm hearing is
rocks in the
bottles
cans
and spinning, and he's got seashells over there. I've done covers for Men's Health that have had less photography taking place.
It's crazy. 3 weeks ago, we just started taking pictures. We never did before.
Well, I love that you're getting the pictures, but you know what? Like maybe we do them in like 5-minute intervals.
Yeah, we're gonna have them on little cranes, like in.
Actually, take like a minute, get all your cameras.
He's got the drone going. He's about to bring in.
Fucking awesome.
Wait, no, I was just onto something, and then I heard more scary noises.
You hated the script.
He hated the script
I
of
hated
part 2.
waiting to. Thank you very much. Okay, so I read it. I thought it was terrible. I also loved Floyd from Waiting so much. He was based on a couple of people I knew where I created that character. We'd all worked at restaurants as like, up and coming, hopefully up and coming performers. So everybody was bringing some real stories to the table.
Yeah.
Rob McKittrick, our director, who also wrote it, was like, I'm cool with improv. Let's bring some real shit. If there's funny, welcome to Thunderdome, bitch. That was something I was saying in my act. I literally just brought it in there because I thought it would be cool for that kitchen scene. But when Waiting 2 came along, I read it. It's terrible. I think I read about 12 pages, and it was just.
You can tell right off the bat that you don't like something.
Like it was like 12 pages, and I was like,
well, they made what's his face like the man when he couldn't even piss in the last one, which threw me off in the beginning.
Calvin. Was
Calvin.
The first
they
one.
made him like the man in part 2.
Okay, I don't know anything about it because it was. I didn't want to see it because I knew it was bad. But I will tell you because I asked permission to speak freely, and you granted me that. So now I'll tell you what I've never told anybody. Okay, inside scoop right here. I'm going to do a pause in case you want to do any kind of punch in on the camera.
Okay.
And you can build in some kind of clickbaity bullshit that
Got
the zeitgeist did. You're never going to fucking believe what I'm about to tell you.
I'm excited.
You got it? Okay. Hold on one second. Can we grab some more photos? I just felt like I was there. Okay. I wanted Floyd to have a spinoff. I thought Floyd should have his own food truck or restaurant. And I was like, forget the rest of these cronies. I know there's some funny people, but Ryan Reynolds is never coming back to this fucking rinky-dink, low-budget world. And some of the other casts were good, but I knew that they were like, there was no real story. I was like, Floyd, there could be a story and a spinoff from this guy. Even if we just Waiting presents Floyd. And I wanted to have like either a day in the life or what would happen to Floyd if he was given the keys to either that place or his own endeavor. And I would still do it. It's a character I love. It's a character that like when you get to be like funny, but like, irreverent and just fucked up and have no filter, especially in a time now we're coming out of that. Now you have the great Shane Gillis's and the Tony Hinchcliffes.
They're helping
and
right
like
now.
We're getting back into that era where it's like, it's too dangerous to say that. Well, we're back in that very dangerous place to be able to like communicate comedy. So I think it could still be a Floyd moment, but back then I was like, man, I was hoping it would be more Floyd centric because I think the fans would dig seeing more of that guy. So
100%.
At this point, we put this emoji.
This one?
Yeah.
Which skin color?
The one that is privileged.
Okay, there you go. The lighter shade. The lighter shade of brown. So as a fan, you guys did deter a lot of people from being dicks to waiters in this next generation.
Deter, is that a new word?
Deter, sorry.
Yeah, but you
I like that.
Deter.
Thank you. I like that.
You could deter. It could be like deterring with tears. You could be so sad
that they go this
way. The person who's getting shunned could be deterring.
I like it. Thank you.
I'm here to help you, man.
No, my education's getting better. We started off that way
With a slap fight.
We started off slap fight, but like when giraffes
Wait, but get
smack
back
necks.
to deter. No, I wanted. You were in a moment, and I came in and I tobogganed you, and I shouldn't have done
People are less dicks to waiters now because they think they're going to rub their dick on their food.
Oh, well, you should have known that before.
For sure, but no,
People
when that
should
came
realize
out
that,
at school, like, be nice to the lunch lady.
Right.
They're going to go in your Jello or something.
Yeah. Well, we always, you know what? Everybody was nice to the lunch lady. Lunch lady for me, she was just like, I was in the system as a kid. We were kind of a welfare family. The
tickets.
And so we had the free lunch tickets. And then, Mary Ann was always like, give me extra scoop or something or whatever.
I was always
gratin.
I was always
being
a
served in
new
our junior high
criminal
school.
or a new guy released from jail that did ours, which is kind of crazy to me. Like, hey, kids, food, touch. Yeah, you just got out of jail. Go for it. I don't know. Also,
Yes.
DANE COOK pay-per-view 20 minutes. How many times have you heard that?
A lot of times, flattering, love it. Anytime somebody,
It's constant.
A Family Guy or Will Ferrell or Saturday Night Live, like you got to realize growing up as a person that knows you, unless somebody's making fun of you, you're not, I'm doing it. It must be done to me. So it's a hazing. It's a rite of passage. And when that line came up in that movie, it was like, damn, man, I am part of pop culture in a way that you got to like have at me, because at that point I was on like a run, you know, I was like in extra innings for what today probably wouldn't happen. I don't think most people have like an 8-year run, you know, visibly 8-year run of like movies, TV, constant specials, albums, support, and I'm owning the internet. I've pioneered, you know, tech. So I was like blessed literally to have this incredible run. So when they start spanking you, you're like, oh, this is good. This actually brings me back down to earth, especially in people's eyes. And it prepares you hopefully for a new comeuppance, because now you've shown like, oh, I can also take some beatings from time to time when it's my turn to have a very funny person come at me. So I hear it probably pay-per-view 20 minutes. Every live I ever do, it's up on the screen at some point. Oh, for
sure.
And I love it. I don't take it personal. And if anything, when people come at me, like with things that are, you got to be funny though. If you think you're funny and you're one of those people, like that's like heartbreaking, because you're like, oh, this person doesn't know what funny is, but they're trying to be funny. And then that comes off kind of weird. But people being actually funny and coming at you with like impersonations and lines or whatever it is, you're like, this is all I ever wanted. I wanted to be that guy. Yeah.
I love that answer. Yeah. Man. Hell yeah. You actually like doing this.
I love it. Yeah. And it's, you know, all the slings and arrows that come with it. Like, I'm not saying I like that failure. And when you get like hit on because somebody hates your movie or special, or and everybody, it's so accessible. Everybody's opinion is right in front of you today. I don't revel in negative. I try to avoid it actually as much as possible. But you do kind of go like, controversy, very good for business, makes your fans even more steadfast, and even haterade is a version of love. So you're entertaining. Even people that are not entertained by you are entertained by that.
Yeah.
I'll take it all. I like all of it. There's always room for growth too, because I've had people come in now and go, I hated you 10 years ago. I wrote you that. I actually want to share something with you as a reason to why I like you now. And they explain it, or maybe they went through a hardship, or they saw something different you did. And then people that loved you from the beginning go, your new thing wasn't like your old thing. Yeah. And then they tap out.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of like, okay, it's all cyclical.
Revolving door.
Yeah, it's all good. You know, so I'm in for it. I'm in for whatever, you know, high watermark moments in even years that like, I feel like it's, you know, Perfectly Shattered was called Perfectly Shattered Tour because I'd had a year before that I felt like things didn't go according to plan. Everything busted apart. And yet the pieces of my failure were perfectly shattered to lead me to some of the best moments of my life. So I was like, all right, this is f***ed, but this is my f***ed.
Yeah.
And now I get to explore and go like, oh, there's some things in here I learned, and there's some funny shit in here. And then the whole theme of it is like, this is what a terrible year looked like in my life. Mm-hmm. And then by the end of that year, I made it funny. So it's all par for the course.
What's up, guys? Taking a moment to talk about one of our sponsors, and this is Raw Rolling Papers, the official rolling paper of the Dope As Usual podcast. If you haven't seen it, Raw just brought out the fatty, and I know it's a play on words on fat, but this thing is actually wider than the king size. You know when you see people rolling backwards, just sitting there with a paper in their hand? You can actually do that with this paper because it's so damn wide. These right here, 32 packs of cones, 3 cones per box. You've seen the classic cones that come 3 apiece. This right here is one giant cone for like the 7-grammer out there. Josh never, they're Willy Wonka. It is the Charlie and Chocolate Factory, if you've ever seen one. This person has nonstop dedicated his life to making different stuff for papers and smoking. So also with that being said, here's another pack. These are the Ethereals 1 1/4. I know we had the king size slims. Here's the 1 1/4. The thinnest paper Raw has ever made ever. Go to rawlife247 on Instagram. Let them know you saw him here on the podcast. Thank you so much for doing all the giveaways. We just did the signed Goblin Raws and all that. Thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you for supporting the brands that support us. So this has been Raw Rolling Papers, the official rolling paper of the Dope As Usual podcast. Let's get right back into this episode. Have a dope ass day. These right here, you are the first person I think in entertainment history to utilize social media in the way that you did. And then have it take off.
Person? You think I'm the first?
I think you're the first person in entertainment history.
I think, yeah. I mean, there were other. I can tell you that I saw Lenny Kravitz. I saw
Lenny Kravitz is Lenny Kravitz though. Like you did something and went, hey, I'm gonna make everything.
There was a few people. There was like Lenny Kravitz was doing on MySpace. MySpace was for you kids at home. It was TikTok 1.0.
Oh, I like that.
And so MySpace
Stagnant.
was the first, presentation portal to the world through social media clips. What am I doing today? Online now, all that. So it's like Lenny Kravitz was over here, and I was watching him do stuff in music, and then over here, believe it or not, like the U.S. Army was already leaning into had a pretty dynamic Flash website, which was like the shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, the Army's got a cool site. I took what little money I had. I created a cool website. I linked it with the MySpace. So I had social media. I had a great dynamic kind of tour page. And I pretty quickly saw that I could populate my world with fans that didn't have access to my shows, regionally, but they were finding my clips and hanging out with me in this, virtual blah, 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 whatever it was. So yeah, I definitely saw a few people, but no comics. And I took full advantage of that and felt like in that first 6 months of being present in that, I was like, I saw a number hit one day where I was like, I don't know, it went from 5,000 to 10,000. And my Richard, who just called me, okay, I call him my brother. He's not my real brother, but he really is my brother. He was my first neighbor, and he's my family, and I love him. That guy who just called, talk about serendipity, huh? He called. He was the guy who walked into my office, and he goes, D, he goes, D, what are you doing? And I go, I'm building a fucking army. And I was in my underwear eating Fruit Loops. And he's like, what? And I was like, and then I showed him. I go, see this number? I go, this is so fucking significant. I just went from 5,000 to 10,000, and I walked him through it, and he stood and he looked, and I go, and I go, look, and I asked everybody where they're from, and I was like, this guy's in Oregon. This guy's in fucking Delaware. This guy's in Tampa. And I go, this fucking girl's in Toronto. And I was like, this 5,000, I go, and I kind of looked around at Hollywood. I go, I already own this place. I got it. I just won. I'm already so far ahead of everybody. And I really did sit there in my office kind of giddy and giggling going, they don't even know what's coming.
Yeah.
I'm going to build an army of fans. And I did that. The industry had to let me in. It did not want to. At first it was kind of like, hey, what's up, Dane Cook? We have a few other people that are sort of buoyant and interesting and more handsome than you and more fucking blah, 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 more. And you're, But once I had those fans, man, suddenly I was handsomer and more interesting. And, I was checking boxes that the industry beforehand was kind of whatever. And then my fans put me on the map.
How long did it take till the venues were all MySpace fans?
How long did it take before
You were building up your newsletter list and your MySpace? It
was, the dramatic version was by that fourth year, I could hit a button and fill an arena. One button ad. Yeah. I'm in the Air Canada Center, boom, sold out.
Wow.
But leading up to that, I saw it go from college gigs where we would kind of do open door, where you could get me as a college, and then people could come in, the community could come in and buy a ticket or come to the field house that we were renting, or however that worked out. I saw it as if I click the button, I'm adding regionally upwards of 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people, because we're now moving from the cafeteria or the small arts performing center to something bigger. And they're calling me going, can we move the show to the other theater? Because we have a lot of people, or people would be outside the doors and windows, literally leaning in like this. So it was probably over that 2 or 3 year period where I could click the button and saw like an instant rapid growth wherever I was perforing.
Yeah, and it was still years till the other comedians really caught on.
Can you sit here, because he's just actually at this point, it's kind of a kink in the neck moment. No. What was that again?
It was still years. I came up doing a lot of digital media for comedians.
Yeah.
And even in many years later, so many of them were still understanding how powerful it was to focus on building your news list and directly connecting with the fans.
Yeah, it was incremental, and it definitely was not an overnight sensation sort of thing. But that era was a good 4 years of shaking every hand digitally. And I did. I wrote every single person back. I sent them wave files of, stand up or Kazaa links or LimeWire or then later Napster. So I was hooked into the mainframe, but I was also coming up with a generation of comedy fans that were not familiar with comedy or had never seen comics previous. They might have watched Comedy Central, a little watered down, sort of homogenized and a bit boring. So they were seeing somebody contemporary, edgy, cooler, coming up with cool album titles and covers. And so it really felt like a happening with that group. I didn't know it would get, I would hoped, but I didn't know it would get to that place it finally got to. Boston Garden, Madison Square, all that, vicious circle and the big, rough around the edges. But in that 4-year period, I was like, I'm just building up like an allegiance that will hopefully buy me some time on the clock in this town to show them that I got some tools in the arsenal.
It was a weird time in comedy between that first like golden era of the LA Comedy Store and then like when the Rogan era kind of really set in.
Yeah, well, that was after, because Death Squad sort of after my run, then that group, and funny because Joe was always as fascinated with internet and his growth and progress there. We took 2 different roads. It's kind of funny. He took more of a forum in a
his forum was awesome.
His forum was epic, but it was also like, it was less at that time for him about the clips and the files and
he was writing essays and shit in there.
Yeah, it wasn't as much about the in real time correspondence and meet and greets. He chose to do something different, which worked. Obviously led him to where he would, explode that into something so much more entrepreneurial. And my route was definitely more like it's a pop-up. Come to the show. I'm going to hang. The after party is going to be just as fun as the grassroots.
Yeah.
The letting them know it's we are the street team. We're shaking up the industry.
Community.
You're putting me on the map. We were doing all that, together in unison in a time when the algorithm didn't control us. The corporate entities didn't know how to finesse it and control it. We had like that 5-year period where like what I posted ruled the day.
Yep.
It got to where we wanted it to go. It was the Wild West. And once once those things started coming in and you were seeing laundry detergents and stuff, you're like, oh man,
it's over.
This is going to be like pay to boost. And it became a different thing. But for that era, for that time, it was like, growing, boom.
So you're sitting there doing comments hours a day, talking to people, sending them away, just like we do all our comments, right?
Yeah.
So for the past 10 years, we've been doing all our comments. It's
meaning you're replying to people and you're letting them know, like, I hear you.
First 1,000 comments, every episode, every video, everything. Because it does make a connection. When you meet those people in person, you go, oh, you're Jake 505. Holy shit. I've been talking for 5 years. Isn't it the best? They're lifelong fans on top of lifelong fans.
Jake 505, such a great guy, by the way.
Yeah, he is.
He's just a small business owner
from Kentucky.
He doesn't have a lot of time. He's still on an Android device.
But he still shows up.
We could all chip in, and Jake, we're coming for you, man. We didn't forget about you.
It's true though, man. Like I guarantee you, when those first couple of years, you show up at shows, go, oh, I know all of your screen names.
Yeah.
It's just
they knew my AIM screen name at the time, which AIM was like, again, the early DM, who used to be IM.
Yep.
And so all these little accoutrements back in the day were what took me from, not even relative unknown, just unknown to even my relatives, to being like the belle of the ball and knowing I am the needle right now. We're setting the bar. My fans, my touring business, my production company, we got to sort of have fun setting the rules for a certain period of time. It was great.
Did you know Joe and Bill and Patrice and all them in Boston or afterwards?
I knew Joe from, all of them, yes, but I knew Joe, especially once we got in LA, because we used to play a lot of Quake 3 Arena. So we were always like online gamer buddy. It was, remember like Unreal Tournament, games like that. Before Call of Duty, there was games like Soldier of Fortune.
Oh, you're talking about real gaming.
Yeah. No, we were both.
You guys are video game clans?
We did.
I love that, man.
Joe got me on. He called me up one day. He goes, "You got to get this computer." I had a Dell computer. He goes, "You got to get an Alienware." And he was the guy who turned me on to Alienware computer. And so I built my rig because Joe helped me to get with Alienware. And then we were playing Quake 3 Arena, was one of the first first-person shooters. And we were gaming. So we'd come out of Boston, ended up knowing each other then. Patrice was on the road with me for a number of years. Rest in peace. One of the funniest motherfuckers that'll ever be. Burr, we came up together. He drove me to New York when I first moved to New York. He literally packed, his little red Toyota up, moved me to New York. There I was hitting my stride, and guys like Bill and Patrice, they were still trying to find their fans. They were still trying to figure out where their moment was, and so it was kind of cool because every once in a while we could all 10 fingers and get each other up to the next, plateau or platform, or if nothing fucking else, just hang outside of a club at night going, man, what do I got to do? Or, doing crunches next to each other at Bulldog Gym on La Brea, me and Burr years ago, and just stopping every 20 crunches being like, oh man, like this, what the fuck? Like, what is this all leading towards?
It's cool to hear that though, because there's a lot of people that go out there like, I'm not Dane Cook. I'm like, no, Dane Cook wasn't Dane Cook either, man. You have to, it takes like hearing you say, I'm stopping going, what am I doing with my life? Yeah. I know it sucks, but it helps people here go, oh, it's real.
Yeah, well, it helps people also hear it because I didn't have there was no shortcut, and it wasn't like I was the son of a broadcast. Like it was real, like out of the gate. Like I came from generations of guys that like built railroads and drank, and then built a railroad and drank while they're building the railroad, and like suddenly it's like ta-da! Like I'm in the arts, like this guy. Like so, I was really trying to use the generations of maybe tenacity and like broad-shouldered lean in, but I was trying to do that in a field I had really no business. I didn't even really understand it. Nobody walked me in, no playbook.
I mean, you just walked up one day and said, I think I can make people laugh.
Well, that's how we all started in Boston,
But how old were you?
I was 19. When I first did open mic in Boston, I think I was 20 years old.
That's a bold move. Like, what do I got to say? Let's go try it.
Yeah.
What, 20 years the first old, thing you said?
I remember one of the first bits that ended up on my album a decade later was called Speak and Spell. It was one of the first things.
That was one of the first things you did.
Because I'd written that in high school, and I knew I could do an impersonation of it, and it made my friends laugh. And so I that was a nugget that I held on to. Then I had another thing because I worked at Burger King, and we used to call it the BK Lounge. And so I got that in my hand, and I'm
These
like,
are all some of your first things?
Oh yeah.
I'm shocked that some of the first things you write.
The first night was a couple of bad impersonations, but that bit, a bit called I Was Raped by a Snowman, which I actually had an article called I Was Raped by a Snowman. I would take it out of my pocket and hold it up.
Oh, I should take what out of your butt?
No,
I was raped by a snowman. You reached to your pocket.
I had an article that was the headline, and so some good bad jokes, some crazy outlandish shit, but then a couple of bits that actually worked enough that I went, all right, that should stay in my repertoire, and then later became the first album that I ever put out. So
I'm shocked that you kept some of your first things.
Yeah, I mean,
that's awesome. You
do an open mic, you go, wow, it's probably shit that I thought of in high school. I just got out of high school or hanging around like pizza places that I was working at or video stores. So it was just, what is that, like cobbled together ideas, not really much of an act, just spitfire. And when you get those few laughs, I left. It was called Catch a Rising Star. When I walked out of that club, I just knew, I was like, my life, it's totally different. I was like, I'm going to die doing this.
Does your family believe in you?
Oh yeah, full on support from the most important person. My mom was like a real champion of mine. Very funny. She saw that in me. So when I said, and she saw me do theater in high school, so she knew I had like the chops. She saw I could hit my punchlines in a play and was getting laughs in the theater. She saw that I could, I could sing, I could dance. I was doing all the. She was like, "Oh, you are an entertainer." She probably saw my report card and realized you're not a mathematician. You're pretty much not anything that has to do with school, but drama. You seem to excel.
You're dramatic.
Yeah, creative writing, drama, journalism. She saw that I had a certain, like creative flair there. So thankfully she was supportive. And people around me, they were my friends. They were like my best friend in the world. His name's Al Del Benny. He lives in Australia with his wife. He's a comedian down there, very, very successful comedian. I knew him since I was 14. He was the first person I said to in drama, what are you thinking about doing after high school? And he's like, oh, I'm not sure. And I go, I want to be on Saturday Night Live. I'm in 9th grade. And he goes, I actually want to be on Saturday Night Live. And so we both want to be comedians. We want, who doesn't want to be on Saturday Night Live, by the way? But at that time, we had a certain kind of like connection. And when we graduated high school, we did that open mic together at Catch Rising Star. And then he went to Bunker Hill Community College and called me and said, I'm in a comedy group called Al and the Monkeys. Do you want to come be in our comedy group? And I was like, yes, anything. Yeah. And so I joined that group. And then we became, for about 4 years, the like premier comedy group in New England, because we would, if you booked us, we would do an hour of sketch and improv. And we would open up, there was 4 of us, we would open up with, we would all go up and do a set. So we would give you 7 minutes each of comedy, which was good for us because now we're practicing before we even go up and like, play music or do freeze tag or whatever fucking games we're playing or sketches. So we're learning, we're doing stand up, we're ending with sketch, and we're leaving people in this
like a variety show.
It's a variety show. That's exactly it. So that was all our beginning years with Burr, with Gary Gulman, with Patrice O'Neill, with Bobby Kelly, with all the, and Aldel Benny, myself, and other great, Bob Marley, who is so still one of the funniest guys in New England, who comes out of Maine. There's more I'd like to name, but just we had our crew, man. We had our squad, and we were not going to take no for an answer.
It's really true. I've never heard of a comedy group like that. We don't. I grew up in the Central Valley. We don't have stuff like that. That sounds amazing.
It's not really out here as much. They have groundlings and stuff, but I think they're synonymous with like, learn to improv to better improve your auditioning in your career, as opposed to like Second City in Chicago, which is like, this is a means to an end. You
People
might come
and
here,
watch this.
right? Yeah. This is an art form. This writing, this character, what's happening in the room, like all those things in certain regions. Lead up to like that being a successful endeavor. So for us in Boston, there were troops. We hated that word. We were like, we don't want to be called a troop. We weren't like hoity-toity. We were scrubs. We were fucking Boston. Like we were like the outcasts of like traditional troops. We were a group. And I'll tell you one funny thing, and maybe some of your viewers will find it funny. Maybe you will. Like do you know the first rule of improv?
You can't say no.
Don't deny. Can't say no. This is how bad we were in how like uninformed. Our first rule of improv in our group was deny.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So when you came in and you were coming like pantomiming, holding a cute little baby, you would just look at the person and go, why are you holding a dead bear? And be like, I just said I'm holding a little baby. Look at the beautiful little baby. And then like, it was just deny, off the rails.
Hard to follow.
Yeah, just like hard, like, because we knew we weren't that funny as writers.
It's like the outsiders.
Here's a great fucking idea. We knew that it had to feel like something that was completely unusual in order to make it work. And we did. We were very successful. If we kept it going, we probably could have done great things, but one asshole had to leave the group and ruin it, and that was me. I was like, guys, I'm tapping out. We had a good run. I can make more money by myself. And I think this thing called the internet is going to be in my favor. But no, we killed it. We played it to the hill. We had a lot of fun. We met a lot of cute girls, and then tapped out.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
There's one thing we cannot get by. I need to know. I was by a snowman. I need to know what's happening.
The article, I actually am talking about it some nights in my new stand-up set, because I ended up doing that bit for the first year. And it was an article. It said I was by a snowman. I cut out the article and I would take it out of my pocket. And then I would go through, obviously, what are going to come across as, probably puns or something here, but being like, in the court document, she touched his snowballs. She was a snowblower. Like, you name a good, bad snow, winter-related bit. Your boy was tearing up the fucking charts.
Wait, we at school or what?
No, I'm doing open mics.
I'm saying the article.
The article was probably like, okay, remember like those the rags that used to come out like Globe newspaper? Remember Globe, not the Boston Globe,
but it was really printed.
Globe. Oh, this is an actual article.
So
with a woman's face who they probably found in like an old obituary, and we're like, all right, we're going to use her. This is an article that I cut out and was like, hey, somebody wrote it. I can make fun of it. And so there I was. I laminated it. And by the way, it's in my office behind me. If you ever see me podcasting on,
it's right there.
It's behind me. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought you meant you wrote a story and got it published called I Was Raped by. That's why this whole time, like, no, we need to. That's why you said it. And then I pulled it out. I was like, what did you pull out?
That would make a lot more sense. My comedy lifestyle. Where did this all come? It comes from trauma, and it comes from the saddest wintry day.
The second the leaves fall,
and the name of my story is Blood in the Snow. And no, it was a real article. It turned out to be a real interesting part of my routine. It got me laughs. I was
just the title, man.
I was out there. I was saying like, and by the way, I haven't even touched upon where we really took it in some of the even more hardcore nooks and crannies. We would take a joke like that, but at that time, man, there were no rules. It was unbridled. Today, like even saying certain words, I'm sure people triggered. People like even now, it's like the algorithm might hear that word and like suddenly we're going to get less views. Like there's a million things that work against you. At that time, here's a simple explanation. If you want to know if you should be offended by something or somebody, it's real easy. If you watch something or somebody, first of all, you have to watch the performer in its entirety. You have no fucking rights to speak on anything if you haven't watched it. If you watch an excerpt, you're a fucking loser. An excerpt is just one piece without an in or an out, and you don't know the context. But here's the key word, and you might want to take a picture for this, or 4,000 in a row. Here's the key word. The key word is malice. And if somebody doesn't have malice, okay, and you can sense that by educating yourself, by just listening, if there's no malice, you're going to know, okay, this person's operating on maybe just an observe and report level or something else that isn't like he's trying to victimize or he's trying to fucking just like be mean. Yeah. Or just, so malice, and then also understanding that the number one rule for all you comedians and people that want to either sing a song about your life or perform a joke, the rule is this: if it happened to you, if you heard it, if it's of you, you can say it. You can say whatever the fuck you want. It's America. That's our right. And especially when you're elevated 2 feet on a stage above people, you're in the dome. You're in the magic space. Okay. So if it happened to you, now if it didn't happen to you and you're making it up, or it's not your story to tell, or you're trying to talk about a lifestyle that is not of your own, like maybe leave that to that person to share their story. I do believe comedy has changed, and the one way it's changed that I'm in favor of is, you're just going to pick on somebody for the sake of picking on them. If you're not involved in that person's narrative, like maybe you are just trying to be shock value.
Yes.
Maybe you are just trying to be a fucking prick. And I don't know, maybe something happened to you where you want the crowd to turn on you. Maybe you want to walk the crowd. I don't know. Okay, if those are your intentions, fine. But being a showman, being a performer, being somebody who wants to like have those tentacles go out and find more fans, like you're only going to do it. You can still have a shock, but do it with the stories that actually you've experienced. And if those words are words that people said to you, or those things have happened to you, like that's yours. You can go for it.
Great advice.
That's it.
We had one comedian, Jessimae Peluso, on here. Yep. She's hilarious.
I've known her for many, many years.
She's so fucking funny.
Very funny.
Funny.
In fact, the first time I met her, I think was the Improv. And on the way home, I happened to see her in the car next to mine. And I'm probably misremembering, but I think I was like, we both pulled over. We chatted on the side of the road for about 10 minutes. And I was like, you are very funny. And we just, shared some niceties. And then she went on her way. I didn't see her for a lot of years. And the next time I saw her, I was like, wow. It was just like, she was crushing.
Yeah, she was one of our first guests we ever had on the show. Cool. She's so funny. The reason why I bring her up, because she's like, say whatever the fuck you want as long as it's you. Because I had this character. I'm like, I don't want to say that. She's like, say it. Because she's like, she was talking about some horrific shit that happened to her. Yeah. And then her mom had, I was like, I have a character. He's a dementia-ridden rapist. Because you wasn't sure if he did it or not. And it was like a stupid joke. And then she's the one that's like, keep going. I'm going to use it. So when you say like, if it's real and it's
of you, then yes.
If it's so fucked up.
Yeah.
But I was like, yo,
but if it's not of you, then you'll know. You still might get laughs because you're getting.
Oh, this is not a stage thing.
Yeah.
This is like
but anyway, just anywhere, skits or whatever, even something on here, like something off the cuff, what you're trying to do is stay in the pocket of like, even in banter mode, who am I? Because if you start doing things outside the lines that really are,
not you.
It's in poor taste, you're going to fucking step in shit. Like, it's just not even worth it. You know, just fucking like play your notes and people, if they do their due diligence, they're going to see if you do say something outside the lines, if there's no malice, then like, what are you going to really say?
When in the history of comedy, it's very rare where people are seriously being pieces of shit to people. I don't see it often.
Well, yeah, I mean,
you know what I'm saying? When they say over the line, like, whoa, that was a little crazy. You meant that.
Yeah, it's
rare.
Still the opinion of the audience member, and there's so much that we could kind of put on them to be like, oh, okay, easy, relax. But you don't know. Listen, the front row of any comedy audience, you know, there's somebody in that row who's been through the terrible trauma that you might there's somebody who's just been through the procedure operation that you might touch upon too soon there's thank God we can't read minds, because you'd be up there going, I don't want to hurt his feelings, her feelings, their feelings. You know, they were just divorced. I have a divorce joke, like, oh, why tonight? I'm just political, like, I don't want to vote that way, and suddenly like it's just like, it's all hogwash. Observe and report from first person perspective, and it doesn't mean stay out of trouble. It doesn't make you any funnier, but at least they're sensing something real, and real is more important than funny. Real trumps funny. Real over funny. If you're very funny but not real, you're sort of like the song of summer. It's kind of like a toe tapper, dissipates. You're kind of forgettable, but you're kind of funny. Maybe we like that person, right? But if you're real and then funny, now you're under people's skin.
Joey Diaz effect.
Yeah. Joey Diaz is such a fucking great example. Like real, and then not just funny. Like we're going to put him in his own. I think Joey's sort of in his own,
bracket.
League.
He can just speak.
But real, yeah. It's a lot of things with him. He got like kissed by the comedy gods.
Yes, dude.
There's history, backstory, foibles, comeuppance. There's a number of reasons that you want to root for Joey Diaz, but for the most part, most comics, especially in the precarious day we live in now, which is very corporate and very like the algorithm, you got your testimony, your personal constitution has to come from what you know and who you are, and that will sort of save you from getting stalled or people impeding on it, because you can always go, this is real. This is my shit. So if people in the front row have a problem with it, it's not like I came out of character to just purposely f with you. And so again, it's like the shell game of what works when, and zeitgeisting and the comedy gods, and there's a billion things that work against. And if you start with those few prerequisites, then you're at least setting yourself up for success, because you're like, what you see is what you get. I'm the real deal Holyfield. That's it.
What's up, guys? Taking a moment to talk about one of the coolest products I've ever seen, and this is the Nova by Cypher. Right now, go to Nova by Cypher on Instagram. Let them know you saw them on the Dope as Usual podcast. You've seen this product on my main channel before. It is shockingly awesome. I know this is going to catch on. This is, in the next 2-3 years, it's going to be one of the biggest things in the world. And you heard it here first. I'm saying that with full confidence. Coming up very soon is an art contest. And what's that art contest? You're going to be able to put your own Novas available on the website from the artist, putting your art out to the world, honestly, and your art on things that we actually love and use. If you don't know what the Nova is, it is a pipe, it's a bong, it's a butler, it's every single thing you can think of. It's what do you want it to be? Right here inside of the pods, all right? You fill these up with what you want, put it right in, all in one system, done. Hold this button, rip it. Or you want to make it a bong, water attachment right on the top, turns it into an actual on-the-go piece. I can fit this in my pocket on a hike. And I know it doesn't look like I hike often, but when I do hike, this is the go-to. Nobody wants to carry a full beaker up a mountain. This is the ultimate way to go. This is the best thing you can possibly have in your pocket when it comes to flour and or concentrates. What's up, guys? Taking a moment from this episode to talk about MyBookie. If you don't know what MyBookie is the number one place to bet on anything, anytime, anywhere, sports, the presidential election, a bunch of things, all right? All right. In the next couple weeks, UFC 309, huge, insane, giant card. John Bones Jones is coming back. 1,000% I'm betting money on John Jones. That's where my money's going. For everyone out there right now, MyBookie can bet on anything, anytime, anywhere. Go bet on the rounds. Go bet on the elbows. Go bet on the knee. You can go bet on any single thing, not just UFC. You want to go bet in the live casino? You can do that. Use our code at checkout, dope as usual, or click the link. It's going to take you to our website. It's going to go to our sponsorship page. That right there is going to match you up to $1,000. Listen to what I'm saying. Dope as usual, MyBookie. This is the deal we're doing. If you use our code, you bet $630, they're going to match you $630. You bet $999, they're going to match you $999. All the way up to $1,000 on your first bet. So shout out to MyBookie, as always, for supporting our show. Double up your bet just by watching the show. That's awesome. Thank you so much. And if you're going to bet on any sports, anything, anytime, anywhere, make sure it is with MyBookie. Use our code. Back to the episode.
That's great advice. Thomas just did his first stand-up at the Improv. Not
Yeah, I
too
just did
long
the
ago.
first one. This shit was
Was your
very...
asshole fucking super tight the whole time?
No. I'm shocked. I wasn't nervous at all.
It was super loose.
Yeah, I shit all
You had
over
a
the
super
floor.
loose.
You want to see? You want to hear something funny? I almost fell flat on my fucking face. First step up there.
Oh no.
I have great balance, and I was like,
Yeah.
I almost fucking slid on my chest.
yeah.
That would have been great.
That illumination hits you, and suddenly you're.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that's it. I know what. I'm just telling you. 34 years in, dude. Listen to the old bull on the fucking hill. I know what happened. Your eyes didn't adjust to the light properly, and then that one step, right? You can't calibrate it because you get vertigo in that moment.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
And your heart's fucking racing like a motherfucker.
I was just hyped. I'm like,
Yeah, it's all happening all at once, right? Your adrenaline,
Yes.
your fucking dopamine, right?
But I will say,
you know,
it was so fun.
Right, it is.
So fucking fun.
It is. It's
Within
the
30
greatest.
seconds, I'm like,
Yeah.
it's just
there's-
fun.
It's fun, and then you leave, and it's weird. It's the only thing that I think is really fun until after, and then you start seeing all the holes in it, and the places where you could have been more fun or more proficient.
God.
So you go like, I'm having fun, and then like 5 hours later, you're like
Watching the piece, like, oh God,
wow,
why'd I move my
They
hip like
were
that?
idiots to laugh at that. I didn't even say the right line, and they laughed anyway. Like
I feel so much better you saying that right now,
yeah.
man. I watched
Yeah.
the thing back and went,
Yeah.
that's how you look?
Yeah, this is what I want to
That's
say
on
to
the
you.
side thing.
I would say this: congratulations, you fucking stink.
Thank you.
But congrats.
Thank you. Very fun. Super fun.
Good, man. Good for you.
Is it true you did a 7-hour show before?
I did. People make
7
this big deal.
hours?
I did. It was at the Laugh Factory. It's not a world record, which is like 38 hours straight in England somewhere.
Ooh.
Oh God.
Yeah.
A
No, it's just-
filibuster?
it was just a. It was just a local. It was a local thing, but
Did it just keep going? Like, did you not plan
I just
that?
did 7 hours. I wish I had a more interesting way to say it. I just stayed up and I was like, I don't want to go home. I remember thinking like, oh, if I go home, I'm just kind of going to be bored and lonely tonight. And I just was like 3 hours in. I'm like, you guys want to stay up here? The record's 5.5 hours. And they were like, keep going. It was just a thing. And then we all left the next morning and fucking opened up the door and like the sun, I never left a comedy club and had the sun like just kill me and 48 people that stayed. It was 63 people that started the night. 43 people ended up walking out of the club with me at 6.
Wow. That's a huge number,
But
man.
honestly, of all, it wasn't that big a deal. It really wasn't. I know it sounds, but no, I didn't leave the stage. I never peed. I never sat down. It was true stand up for 7 hours, but it's not any kind of record. It was just a local fucking thing that I felt like doing because I was
Still awesome.
It's crazy.
Very fucking cool.
You have that much in your head that you can just keep talking.
Keep
I don't know
riffing,
if I had
man.
that much in my head.
And there's people
it was
to talk
just
to.
me. Like I knew everybody in the crowd by the end. I would just. There were many moments where it was probably very cerebral and kind of like just trying to figure my way through. But it really was just like one of those things that when I did it and I was finally done, I was like, all right, I'm never doing that again. I don't need to do that again. But for what it was worth that night, I was like, all right, that was kind of an adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something you never did.
Never did.
Okay. My last question for you.
All right. Better be the best fucking question.
It's a question I want to know if like from an opinion.
Okay.
Because I know you're watching, I know you're seeing.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. I'm just going to get my picture taken real quick.
Go. It's probably the coolest picture of the day. It's probably the coolest one. Rocco.
What do you got?
You're watching comedy. You're seeing this.
I thought this was going to be one of those gay questions that it's like, favorite cereal?
No.
Apple Jacks?
We should definitely do a Who Are You in the
No,
90s on the way
I
out.
thought you were just setting me up for one of those fucking weird last questions, but instead,
No,
you're going to...
It's a thought.
Ask you a real question.
Hold on. Let me adjust in my coffin. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God, dude, my fucking asshole fell
There's
asleep
tarantulas right
like
there.
15 questions ago and 80,000 snaps of his fucking old camera.
Okay. Are there anybody that, as
Are there
comedy
anybody?
fans,
Okay,
are
that's a
there
weird way to start the fucking question.
is there anybody out there that we should be watching as
I'm
comedy
that
fans?
guy. I'm such a fucking little prick.
Let him get it out.
Go for it.
Okay.
Who, as comedy fans, is there anybody that we should just go check out that you think has potential to be?
Yeah, anybody who's featuring for me. I feel like
Okay. Names, though.
I feel like I'm always trying to find that next person, and I want to highlight and showcase people that I think are gonna change the landscape of comedy in some way. I also think that like if you're a decent comic, decent person, that you want to challenge yourself and put somebody very funny on, and you want to also present somebody, right?
Yeah.
So I've had on tour for the last 2 years, Dunn.
Drew Dunn.
And Drew, I mean, I feel like this is a weird kind of person to relate him to, but like he reminds me of like somebody who's just like a great voiceover actor who can kind of play any kind of character. And I think he's going to be a guy that like ends up creating, you know, a great animated series. He's so funny. He's quick off the cuff. He's got great material. So people have been loving Drew Dunn. He really kills it. And then I've got a guy right now that I really like named Adam Mamawala who's on tour with me. He's actually going to be on tour for the next month. I have Erica Rhodes, who I love, and she's going to be with me in I don't know when this is, but like in my Washington D.C. date.
Okay.
And I feel like Erica is one of, I hate like when people go funniest girl or got like Erica is funny.
She's a comedian.
She's just funny. And so Erica, Adam, Drew Dunn, and it's kind of funny because on the tour last year, not the Perfectly Shattered tour, that was Drew Dunn, but the year before that was Matt Rife.
Oh,
and Matt Rife was
on the come up
featuring for me, and I'm privileged to say that I've had guys like Matt that have just come up the ranks, and you know, they kind of
Blown out.
you know, have their moment, and then I get to sit back and watch and be like, oh man, it was cool because you know my fans are true comedy fans, and some of them got on to me because another comic that you know showcased me. And so that pay it forward kind of attitude is something that's deeply important to me. So come out and see the show. And by the way, special guests, sometimes people pop in. You never know who might, you know, swing through and want to do some time on the show. So
fresh new flavor tour.
Interesting. Fresh new flavor.
Ticketmaster.
Yeah, it's on Live Nation. Actually, Dane Cook.
Oh, Live Nation. Dane Cook.
If you're on Bands in Town, I tell people like, because everybody's always like, what's the best way to stay
Just
in the
got
loop
that
without
app,
you fucking bothering me with like emails? I do Bands in Town. Because it just gives you updates on dates, and they also
recently.
give like, you know, great like there's like packages and stuff that they do on there. So it's kind of like a great place to, if you want to keep all your concert going needs in one convenient location. And then I just keep I keep a MailChimp, and I just send out personal emails to people. Sometimes I'll send out swag. Sometimes I just do like upgrades, giveaves. So if people follow me across the board, there's always, I say it like this: when I'm winning, my fans win. If I'm reaping a great harvest, like I want to do as much as I can to keep people going. Not only was the show funny, but I'm a part of this.
It's community.
Yeah, it's a community. And I will say, if I can just pat myself on the back here a little bit, coming out of COVID, you know, my goal that year was to do a victory lap moment that would lead to what I think is going to be an incredible, prolific year ahead. Because I've got a couple of things I can't share here, but are big, very big plans for 2025. And so I do feel like it's been with incredible support from fans through high times, low times, whatever, no times, to what's been happening out there now, which like there's a real rumble, and the pendulum swing is going into a place that I think is going to be some of the most interesting times ahead for me that I've had the privilege of experience. So I hope people will jump on and be a part of it. And if nothing else, just come out to a show and you will fucking laugh your ass off.
That's the best pitch you can give us right there.
That's it.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Thank you for being here.
Dude, man, thank you guys very much. I really want to, you know, say that, you know, reaching out and, you know, DMing and the way sometimes these things come together. That's another thing. It kind of goes back to the beginning.
Yes.
Be proactive, you know, reach out to people. You know, find people online, you know, don't fucking burden them with too much information, but, you know, straight shot. I like you. Here's what I'm trying to do. Is there any way we could join forces and be a little bit of a Justice League?
Yeah. Exactly.
I appreciate it. Creative people are always looking for ways in this hard system of distribution to figure out how do we win together. And so stuff like this really makes all the difference in the world.
Appreciate
I hope I'm
you.
a part of your growth. Thank you for being a part of my next wave, and fucking away we go. We should do a photo.
Right? At least one. We should get at least one photo.
I would say 2 tops. No.
This has been the Dope as Usual podcast. I'm Dane Cook. I'm one of the best. You know it. I know it. Some people will ask you from time to time, who's on the Mount Rushmore of comedy? And what I like to say is, you mean the other 3?
Oh, I like that.
Cut!
Fuck out of here.
Wouldn't it be great if my neck just exploded and squibs and I went, ah!
Oh.
And it was just like, and can we add some, maybe we can animate some blood.
I gotta be honest.
And then have a tarantula crawl up across my face like this. And then we do one of those, dun, 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 dun,
007.
dun, 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 and it closes
007.
with like a Looney Tunes. And then I come through the thing and I'm like,
Cartoon
that's not
style.
all, folks.
Yo, ending alive with you must be 90 minutes. I take. Oh man,
Hey,
that
sorry, I'm
must
a
be crazy.
little low blood sugar. All I had was a banana and 5
cashews.
Hey man, no, seriously, dude, this was so fantastic,
That was
bro.
fun, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
brother.
for being here,
Thank
guys.
you guys, man.
Dope as Usual podcast. It's been Dane Cook.
Yeah.
Have a dope ass day.
All right,
Dude, thank you so much for being here, man.
that was fun, man.
That was fun.
Thank you, dude.
Great
ridiculous.
That was a good one. That was ridiculous. Those are the best
Ridiculous.
kind.
Perfect.